Hey guys, DeathClock Dave here, and welcome to another Battle Report recap. Guys, if you like the content that we're creating, please be sure to hit like on that video. Also subscribe to the channel to see our new content. You can also follow me on Facebook by searching for DeathClock Dave, or email me directly, deathclockdave@gmail.com. Our crew also actively monitors the YouTube comments and the Facebook comments if you guys have any comments about the matchup. So this evening we had Cygnar, played by Jordan Reid, versus myself, playing Convergence. I was playing Orion in Destruction Initiative and Axis in Destruction Initiative. And Jordan, what were you playing this evening?
I was playing Haley2 in Heavy Metal and Stryker2 in Storm Division.
All right, and what did you choose this evening?
I chose Stryker2. I just wanted to smack some things in the face with the sword. So
Yep, makes sense. Stryker2 gets lots of work done and goes really, really far when he does it. So Stryker on his own can get a lot of work done. So I chose Orion, and the reason why I chose Orion is I figured with a shooting threat, I was going to be able to put some good damage on stuff. Haley doesn't like to get shot at. It can be a bit tricky to get a bead on her, but between magic bullets and ground pounders and such, it can put her, make her think twice about how far up she is. I thought about playing Axis, but the big thing with Axis is that with the Teps, it's hard to necessarily get enough work done, say on the Storm Lances, and still be out of threat ranges. It maybe would have been okay if I had possibly ADR'd in for a whack of Galvanizers, but overall I thought that Orion was going to be the best play. So this evening we were playing Scenario 6, which is Recon 2, so we have two vertically oriented rectangular zones that can be controlled by Warcaster, Warlock, Warjack, Warbeast, Battle Engine. Two objectives, and we each picked the healing objective, and I think I forgot to use it all game long.
Yes, you did.
Which is pretty great. And two flags, which are Warcaster, Warlock, or Solos. So, Jordan, how are you deploying here?
So I wanted to put Stryker pretty central, with him having such a long threat range and assassination run. I just wanted him to be able to touch multiple areas of the board, and I saw a big building up there and knew how fast, because I won the turn to go first, I knew I could get up far enough to be outside your guns, and then I could probably put Stryker behind that wall for the rest
behind the house for the rest
of the game, and try. And then when he wanted to, he could jump out. The lances are on the bottom because they're going to come around and either go between the building and the forest, or they're going to come around flank. And the Strider was central as well, just to put shots where he needed.
Mm-hmm.
Jacks were spread out accordingly, just because positive charge.
Yep. And you've got one proxy for Gwen Keller, and was that
yeah, Gwen Keller. Yep. And that was played by Jake's instead. So
she was the red model in behind
the
Ironclad, right?
Yes.
Pointing her gun back towards your table edge.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
How did you set up, Dave?
So I wanted to be able to get as much work done as possible. Me not going first is a big thing in this matchup. I would have much preferred to be able to trample forward, get a commanding presence on the board, and then be able to shoot if he basically advanced at all. But I get pretty far up with the Destruction Initiative. I'm 2 inches farther on. So I've got my ground pounder jacks all to my right flank. I wanted to have some juicy targets with those storm blades. I think I got a little too focused on taking out the storm blades. I also put my elimination servitors on a hard right flank because they are an auto 1 point if they hit. I knew he had the mini feat, putting the storm blades to 18, and with decel and stuff, as long as they hit, they can kill. I wanted to put my Monitor at the bottom flank, so on my left flank, to try to square off against the storm lances and get some damage on there. And the Cypher is central, along with my corollary and Orion. I wanted Orion central to maximize the feat, and I wanted the Cypher central because my plan was to put 4-inch rough terrain wherever I could. So he's got very little or no Pathfinder in the list other than Rupert handing it out. So I was going to be keeping a bead on Rupert the whole time. If he was ever within range of my guns or within 4 inches of anything, the plan was to have him die, and then have 2 4-inch AoEs out for rough terrain on my turn, and if he kills something, I would get an Avenging Force AoE out as well to try to control the board that way. And I can pinpoint those pretty good by shooting my own servitors and figuring out where I want those. So and then it's just a smattering of servitors throughout to try to keep my shield guards close. I should have had more of the servitors on my left flank to be more relevant there.
So this is my first turn as I'm going, and as you saw, as a theme bonus, I advanced moved my storm blades up. So as you can see, I put out some widgets there to measure how far he could shoot, because I wanted to get as far up the board as I possibly could while staying out of threat range, because I don't want to get shot bottom of one.
Yeah,
so
which made me sad. I wanted to shoot things.
Yep. So I noticed, as Dave already pointed out, that he put all the servers to one side. So my game plan after seeing that was actually just to contest that zone, because I noticed with only 2 jacks really down there, he pushed really hard for the top. And my plan after seeing that was eventually, if I don't get the beat on the assassination, to just take over that bottom zone and hopefully just keep on throwing units, solos, things into that zone just to contest. After seeing also where he put his servitors, I switched up my 2 jacks and I put both Fireflies and the Strider up towards them, just because that's my best way to deal with all of those servitors up there. But seeing how he placed, I knew those Stormblades were not meant to live. They were eventually going to die. So I just thought I might as well try and trade for them as I do. So it's just the regular turn 1. Things run up, staying out of threat ranges, getting in position for next turn, while trying to not die. I also put Stryker up. I had Stryker use velocity and charge up because I wanted to be as far up as I possibly could to threaten, but also not get shot, because if he takes any damage, it makes his overboost, or what's it called?
Overload more dangerous,
way more dangerous. Yeah. So we didn't cast any spells, we didn't put anything out in anything
other than velocity, I guess.
Other than velocity, that's all I used. Yeah. So yeah, everything's up there, and now it's you're looking to see if you can shoot anything, but I don't think I gave you much options.
Yep, that's correct. I believe everything was out of range, so I'm basically just trying to figure out where I can put my stuff in range so that I can be relevant on the next turn. Again, I would have very much liked to have gone first to be in a better position and get more chance to shoot. So trying to put myself in spots where I'll be out of shooting range of his, because it's not going to be a scoring. He won't be scoring on his turn. It won't be till my next turn. So just putting some servitors up to try to spread out. This is the battle of the 4 inches and 3 inches, because E-leaps are 4 inches, my shield guards are 3 inches, and magic bullet is 4 inches. So everybody's trying to always stay outside of 4 inches of each other.
Ground pounders there too.
And, yeah, so placement was a pain in the butt for both sides. So I'm just positioning my jacks to be, and most of my army to be in places where he can't really get a whole lot on me. Also trying to put some servitors around for shield guards. The Strider shoots so far that I think it was pretty much impossible for me to not get shot. I think you threatened 19 inches or something. So so I knew I had to be far enough up that I was going to be relevant on the following turn. So I've got my heavies placed in such a way so that any bounces, if I shield guard it to servitor, and then it'll bounce just to the jacks as best as possible. The plan was also to try to use my objective as much as possible that way going forward. So just, again, getting things in the way. I also wanted to limit where those storm lances could go. So you can see I've run two attunement servitors up, and now I am laser pinpointing some rough terrain there. to force him to have to move forward and use Rupert to get through there, and then he has to make a choice whether he's going to do that on the lances or potentially get Stryker too far ahead, or Stryker up. My big mistake for here is I forgot about, I wasn't thinking enough about Stryker's 17-inch nonlinear threat range, and I'm actually, I think Orion needed to be like an inch, maybe a bit over an inch back to be outside of that. So this was my turn. I got Avenging Force up, and that was really it. And then over to Jordan to see if he can kill me.
So at the beginning of this turn, I start planning out whether I can do it. We have the ability to take a focus off the Squire, and I think I spent a good like 6 minutes planning this all out. At first,
I thought it was over at this point, and I was kicking myself because I knew this. I used to play Stryker, and I talked about it lots before the match, and it was just me, I guess, trying to get forward far enough to be relevant. So.
And I didn't end up going for it actually because I thought behind the wall you're 17. I need 10s. If I don't roll high enough on my overboost or my overload, then I don't know if I can really kill you.
And I think I had 2 focus on
2 focus. Yeah. And needing 10s, I mean, if I roll well enough, I only need to connect with 1, but I just didn't know if throwing the game away on a...
It's one of those things that if you miss one, or if you just happen to not do enough, I've got jacks right there.
Yeah, I'm dead, and the game is basically over. So I decided not to go for it, to go below attrition. Lo and behold, afterwards I rolled it out a little bit, and actually, I believe I killed you in 1 hit. So.
Yeah, even with the 5 off on the focus. Well, because you rolled like 11 extra...
I think I rolled like a 12 or 13 for extra damage.
So putting it 28 or something, so something silly like that. You only have to really connect once.
Yeah.
At that point. So
we afterwards we talked about it too, and the other option I could have done is I could have gotten there, taken a charge attack, boosted to hit, bought and boosted to hit. And if I missed, I could have popped my feet and hopped actually over that wall. Yeah. And then with my feet attack, boosted to hit, and possibly been able to do it there. But it wasn't to be, so I decided to just start putting work into things. Kill some servitors. I think the first thing I do is I move a Firefly up, and I just start trying to kill servitors. I know those Stormblades are going to die, so I try and spread them out as best as possible. At this point, I'm also trying to just keep, as Dave said, it's the game of 4 inches, trying to keep everything 4 inches apart. Which is a lot harder to do, actually. So it's just the game of shooty right now, and not really much else is going on. I end up taking way longer on this turn than I really hoped to. Actually, I think at the end of it, I'm down to 30 minutes.
There's a lot of time spent on figuring out the assassination.
Yeah, and
checking where the elites were going to go and such.
Yeah, after seeing I couldn't get over that wall, I probably shouldn't have I should have just not gone for it and. Should have just not gone for it or not mathed it out as much as I did, and just kept on the path that I was gonna do anyway. So Fireflies are both moving up, trying to get into defensive positions. What's going on? What am I doing next here? Now I'm just running Savio over because he wants to be in the middle of all of those Stormblades, because those Stormblades are probably all going to die.
He gets angry when things die.
And he likes being angry. So he's just trying to hide behind the cover and keep himself alive. Stryker walks up, puts up D-Cell, because one thing I did know is I knew you had Spell Piercer coming into this matchup, and I was going to force you to have to cast it every turn.
Yeah.
So I was just going to do it. There was actually a mistake made here. 2 mistakes. One, I forgot that Jake's did not have Pathfinder, so Gwen Keller did not get in for the charge, and I ended up actually then putting a model within range of Stryker for you to shoot my caster and pull my caster. So I actually made a bit of a mistake there. Shouldn't have done that, and made me a little scared, but you'll see what happens next after that. So seeing that he put the rough terrain there, I decided the best thing I could do is just flank super hard with those lances, because I knew with your feet you couldn't. I was trying to make you spread yourself thin.
Yes. 16 inches is a long ways, but when you flank that hard on both flanks, it's hard for me to get meaningful.
Yeah.
I have to choose. So.
Yeah, and at that point I also the other thing I wanted to have something, because I know you didn't really commit super hard to that one zone. So I wanted to be able to, anything you put in that zone, I wanted you to have to really think about where those lances are going to go. So yeah, we're doing some more. The Strider's going, making some E-leap shots. Nothing really great. I think I shoot your Cypher a bit, and I actually put, I think, about 10 damage.
Yes, this is where we made some mistakes, because I think I was with the E-leaps or something. There was, at one point, the damage had to be reversed on at least some of it, because the E-leaps should have been going to...
Yeah, the corollary. They would have went to your... They still would have went to your corollary,
gotcha.
But it should have been... I rolled 1 on one E-leap.
It would have been going to the objective.
Yeah. I did roll 2 on the other E-leap, so it would have actually gone from the...
Cipher to the objective.
And then back to the corollary.
Right,
so.
right.
But we do... you didn't put any... of your... servitors in the within 3 inches, so there's no shield guard. So I thought I might as well try and take a chunk out of that. Yeah. Out of that Cipher, soften it up. So
yeah, and this is where some of the elimination servitors should have been toward my left flank and toward the center, so I could have maximized the shield guards that I had.
Yep. So at this point, I've also decided I knew those Stormblades were all going to die, so all I really wanted them for was just models to get into the zone after. Just send them in waves into the zone, just to be in the way, maybe get some assaults off, but they weren't. This is not a good matchup for them. They weren't really great to have. They could have been... I was debating whether I'm making them double Stormlance. Making a double Stormlance isn't... In the end, you should always just do double Stormlances.
Stormblades die pretty easy. Def 12 is sad, but I mean, if they get there, they get a lot of work done, particularly if they're under a positive charge.
So, and also at the end of that, Rupert also went and gave them tough, because mini feat with no knockdown and tough is pretty good.
Yep, for sure. So this is over to me, so I'm doing my Avenging Force shot. So I moved the monitor forward and took a shot at one of the Storm Lances, and I think did decent amount of
You missed him.
Oh, I missed, right. Was that a double ones or something?
No, the 1 and a 2.
Oh, okay, gotcha, right. So that was sad, because going for dice off 4 for a free shot is kind of nice. So I knew this was going to be feet turn. It's just a matter of what I can get in. As Jordan said, he's flanked pretty hard to the right and the left, so I had to decide what was going to go where. I knew I wanted to utilize the Cipher rough terrain shots on my far left flank to try to limit what those lances could do. And this is where I spend some time looking at Stryker, because I could actually, with Orion, I could shoot the Lancer and pull Gwen and Stryker over far enough. He was actually far enough that he wouldn't have clipped the house. It would have pulled him away from the house, so that my I could have then got a flare shot on him to drop him down to def 16. My monitor would have had a straight shot on him. I could have gotten my ground pounder jacks on there as well, but he would be benefiting from the cover. I couldn't move him quite far enough out for the cover. Yep. So it would have been def 18 versus my shooting. He had 2 or 3. What did you have on you for focus?
I had 3 on me.
Yeah,
all I did was cast decel, and that's all I did.
So I looked at it for a bit, trying to figure out if that would be worthwhile. But 18s, or I guess 18s with a cover was going to be sad. So I mean, in hindsight, maybe if I had done that and tried to at least shoot him with a monitor to get some good damage on him to make the overboosting more dangerous, that could have potentially been a thing. But
would you have just killed Gwen or shot Gwen first with the monitor, and then or use the ground pounder possibly to get a monitor out of? Because if you can get Gwen out of the way, then you could just pull Stryker straight.
Yeah, and that might have been a better play, actually, just to kill. Although, yeah, actually, that probably would have been good.
You would have lost a shot on Stryker,
right?
But
well, I could have actually moved up the diffuser at the bottom, right? And he would have been in. She's def 17 versus shooting, but if I had got that diffuser first,
she's defense. Is 15 versus shooting. She's base 13.
I see. Okay, so actually the diffuser would have been a good play, because he's got lucky, so I could move up.
I would have been armor 17 at that, because I did have decel up and you hadn't cast Spell Piercer.
Right.
So it would have been...
Yeah, right, that's order of activation would have been a thing, so...
You could have killed her, but it's uncertain.
Then I can't do the pull, so... so just deciding to do the attrition. So starting at the top right, I use my corollary to hand out 3 focus to the assimilator on the far right, and then basically started working my way down the line. I had obviously moved and feeded with Orion to try to catch what I could. I can't remember if I actually shot with Orion or not.
Yeah, you shot one of the Stormblades on the bottom of the.
Right, to pull him out of cover or something.
Or you pushed
Savio out of cover, which was a big thing. Yeah, which was big because Savio's high defense and he's got dodge, so I did not want that jerk coming after me.
Nope.
And he hits hard and stuff. So feated. I believe I've got Spell Piercer up as well, and I handed out a magic bullet to the Cypher, so he could try to get a bit of extra damage. Here I'm moving up with my Elimination Servitors and shooting at the Stormblades to try to clear out whatever I can. And figuring out where I can get some juicy ground pounders as well. So moving the assimilator forward, placing... Jordan did a good job of spacing out as much as he could, so I'm only catching maybe a couple of models at a time in ground pounder. It's hard to have everything out of 4, just because that's a long way to try to spread out. But trying to take what I can, I wanted to make sure that those Stormblades couldn't get to the fight and be relevant. In hindsight, I got a little too focused on the Stormblades and put a lot more resources than I needed to in them. I was also, for the most part, kind of ignoring the Strider. It's dice off 6, so I was putting damage on it where I could if it meant I was placing in such a way that I was getting work done with the template on other things. But I didn't really have any delusions of being able to kill it unless I put my entire army into it, basically, in which case there's a lot more that can get to me. So I probably should have focused more on the Fireflies. The Fireflies make the bump the Strider up to POW 17, right? Yeah. And he's got 2 shots on there. So that maybe would have been a little bit more worthwhile because one of the Fireflies was out in the open. The other one would have been getting cover. But
yeah, I was thinking you'd actually go for that Firefly and leave the Stormblades a little bit farther away. But yeah, you focused very heavily on my Stormblades, which I was, at the end of it, you put a lot of your servitors and a lot of your ground pounds into it, and at that point I was actually not upset about it because you didn't touch my jacks.
Yeah, I should have just sandpapered off that front row because then Rupert was going to have to. I mean, he can get the Pathfinder off, but they wouldn't have been far. They could have got some assaults off maybe, but not a charge. So I should have just kind of took out the first few, made sure I killed Savio, and then it looks like I probably could have hit potential. I don't know whether I could have hit both of those Fireflies with one ground pounder or not, or if they were actually spaced out.
Those were spaced out, no, but you could have gotten one of them and,
and the Strider
or something like
so
that.
I probably should have put maybe 3 shots into there, depending on how... Oh, I guess I wanted to make sure Savio died. That was a big one. So on my left flank here, I'm figuring out where I want to put my rough terrain. So I boosted on the Stormblade to make sure it landed. And then I was out by about an inch or so on the back Stormblade, so scattered, actually got a pretty good scatter and landed in such a way that effectively there was a full rough terrain in front of the Storm Lances, kind of neutering how far they could go. And kind of limiting what could happen on that flank. So and then after I've done those shots, I make sure that the focus is going to the monitor. I wanted to get some shots off with the monitor also, and the diffuser just to continue to soften them up. I do have Spell Piercer up, so it's getting past. You've got Arcane Shield on the Lances right now. Made a bit of a mistake because I forgot that that Magic Bullet does not ignore it ignores D-Cell, but it does not ignore the Arcane Shield. So that was actually Magic Bulleting.
Why would it ignore?
Because it's not a magic attack and it's not a ranged attack.
Yes, that's
so it gets around D-Cell, but it does not get around. So I was POW 12 versus Armor 20, so that was a mistake on my part. I get a shot off with the monitor and managed to take out one of the Stormblades, and I'm shooting now with the diffuser to put some more damage onto them. I think I killed. Did I just kill the?
You killed 2.
I killed 2. Yeah, that's right. And then the ones that are left are behind the rough terrain. I don't think I repoed my diffuser. I should have probably moved him back 3 inches. I think I still probably would have been in range.
Yeah, I think you're still in range,
but maybe should have done that. And so that was my turn. I definitely was not pushing hard enough on the scenario presence to make sure that I was preventing the points. I believe I scored 1 point on my turn on my flag. I apologize, guys. I think the turn counters and the point counters were a little bit off throughout the game. But now Jordan is figuring out what he can do and where on his turn. So.
Yes, and I made a mistake as well. I should have had one of my soul. Gwen shouldn't have gone up for that charge. Gwen should have just been on that flag that turn, because then I could have scored on one of them, your turn as well, and unless you move that servitor up, but that servitor just sat there. So this is Stryker yet again, seeing if I can get there, and I'm debating going through it again, and I can get there with 3 focus and a charge, and you're out in the open because I can kill that objective, and I could have possibly slammed the cipher out of the way. But then I start looking at the scenario and see that you've put so little in the scenario that there's a very good chance I can score 4 points this turn while still denying you the point you can. So I decide that that's a bit of a safer route to go around, and that Stryker doesn't need to put himself in danger's way. He can just hide there. He's happy being there, and going up 4-1 on scenario seems like a pretty good place to be, especially with you committing so hard to the top. I feel like I can keep most things out of that zone, and Stryker, if he needs to, can just go clear a zone by himself to end the game off. So,
and there was a lovely charge in by Gwen, killed the servitor, and then my Cypher was just within 6 inches of her to drop a speed debuff grenade on me.
Kinetic bomb.
So -2 speed. So speed 2 Cypher is good times.
Yep. So the Fireflies walk up and they are just clearing off servitors, trying to get stuff out of zone. So I move the one Firefly behind the wall, but building up, and have it within 5 of that objective, and then I just put my Storm Strider into that thing and blow it off the board. POW 17
dice off 1
is pretty good.
2 shots.
So that Strider has done more than needs to. The next Firefly clears that last, while staying within 4 of that flag, kills that last servitor that's in the zone, giving me that zone. So I'm quite happy with that. I run the Squire up on the flag to score that flag, and I believe I put my Lancer into the Cypher just to put something in the way, be a roadblock, do damage. I also was going to move Stryker back, but then realized he was fine where he is. He needs to be threatening up there. So yeah, I think we put some decent hurt into it. I think we.
Yeah, I think you hit it for quite a lot. Because did you have positive charge up?
Yes, I put positive charge.
So you put a lot of damage into him actually.
Yeah, I think I spiked actually, and I think left him on 1, but he was just trying to get in the way basically to be a roadblock for that Cypher.
And speaking of roadblocks, I had put my arc node on the bottom left into the lances. I probably could have had him a little farther forward. He was off to the side, but trying to block where they could go. So with the rough terrain, just trying to figure out where they can get to actually be putting some damage on the diffuser. So.
Yep, and so the three lances that are left, I end up getting 2 that make successful charges into the galvanizer. Or is it the galvanizer? Diffuser. And then the last one can't make a charge, so he just can't make a successful charge on it, so he just goes into that.
Into the arc node,
Into the arc node solo. So I do some of my assaults, and I put some damage into it, and then I think the bottom one kills that arc node, and then one charge, and I roll ridiculously well, and I kill that diffuser.
I think it was straight dice or something like that.
So I just repo a little bit, get them in the way, get around that rough terrain, get them ready for next turn to possibly charge something in the zone there.
Yeah, lances in your flank is a bad time.
So, and then that Ironclad just walks up and hides behind the wall just because anything he puts into the edge of that zone, the Ironclad just wants to be there ready to put some serious damage into it. So, and now the Stormblades are just, at this point I've given up on them, so I do some assaults, I put them all, I believe, in the zone, and they're just more models in the zone, basically. Something for you to shoot at, because I don't think they're going to do too much work the rest of the game. So at the end of this, I score 4 points. It goes 4-1.
4-1. So here's my avenging fourth shot, moving up with a monitor and taking a shot and removing another lance. So they're down 2-2. So free shots are great. I know I'm in trouble because of the scenario. I don't have enough solos on my left flank that I can get to his flag. And I think I got a little bit of tunnel vision here, and I should have focused a bit more on the scenario. I should have probably tried to get some shots into his objective. At very least, I should have made sure that I killed the Firefly that was contesting my flag, so that I could have scored. And that way I could have at least made it more difficult to win on scenario. So moving forward with my elimination servitors, just getting some shots on. I think I got a couple of shots on the Stormblades and moved them into the zone. At least one of them is behind the obstruction to try to make it semi-difficult to clear that zone, even although with E-leaps it can bounce through the obstruction. Yep. Placing some ground pounders here just to continue to clear some Stormblades. And I might have put maybe a bit more damage on the Strider. I can't fully remember there.
I think you did. I think you did 6 or so total damage to the Strider.
Yeah. So definitely should have focused on one, if not both of those Fireflies. Definitely the one that was on my flag, so that I could have kept the not allowed him to get such a lead on my. For the scoring. So I did repo my jacks on my right flank into the zone to make it harder to score there, but I've committed pretty hard to that right flank, and with an Ironclad Firefly or Ironclad and the Lancer on my left flank with positive charge, and then Stryker just around the corner, he can get a lot of work done there. So moving up my mechanics and healing up the repairing up the Cypher, because you did a crap ton of damage to him. I think he was down to like 1 or 2 boxes. So he is back up to full and will be able to receive the inducted focus, which is glorious. I am engaged by the Lancer, so my plan with him is to try and get some damage on the Lancer, and also repo into the zone to put something into that zone. So. So here I'm going with my ground pounder jack. I shoot at Gwen.
We kill Gwen.
And I can't remember if I put any damage on the Ironclad at all.
No, you missed because of cover.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The big thing was clearing out Gwen. And here is my Cypher moving forward, I do believe, after getting the focus from the assimilator. And I actually missed one of my attacks to the top assimilator, so I actually only had 2 focus on that got inducted down. So there I did some pretty good damage, I think, on the...
You did
I was only mat 4, so I used the 2 focus to boost an attack and boost a damage to put as much damage as possible into him, and then I repoed into the zone.
Yep.
Move forward with my monitor, crank the damage on one of the Storm Lances, and then repo into the zone. So I've got the 2 jacks there. And I think that's the bulk of this turn. So
Orion goes and he gives a tricky little trick, and he magic bullets off of the Strider.
Right. I cast Magic Bullet on myself put it on. Now, this was probably not something I even needed to do at that point, because Rupert there wasn't a ton left for him to be giving Pathfinder. I mean, tough is nice, but he was pretty irrelevant to that point for what he could do. So, but the big thing is that I have not killed that Lancer, or sorry, the Firefly in the top right, and there was no way. Also, I was looking around for a way to maybe be able to push him out of the zone with my shot from Orion, but there was no way, nothing of his close enough to do that, and I had no servitors on my far left flank close enough to be able to run into the flag. So at this point, we know the game is lost. I think we're just playing out your turn to see what kind of damage you could do and how many points you could get. So
I ended up. At this point, because I'm contesting your flag and I score a point, I go up to 5-1, and then all I have to do is just pass the clock.
Yeah.
And I win. So we, just for the fun of it, we just see if he had killed that Firefly, what Stryker got to do. And Stryker, being the boss he is, doesn't need that Ironclad's help. He just decides to go in there, and after a charge and 2 bot attacks, he kills...
You rolled like an 11 or something on the overboost?
Oh, I rolled an 11 on the overboost, 10 for damage, and he cranks the damage on the he cranks the damage, and I think, charge and two attacks kills a full jack and a half dead jack.
Yeah.
So Stryker is a boss.
Stryker gets work done.
Yes. So
yeah. So that was game, guys. I definitely needed to make sure I had my eye more on scenario. I should have had my my servitors in a more balanced spot so that I could have been contesting, at very least contesting on my turn, so that he wasn't scoring points on my turn. I was fairly happy with the attrition that I had done, although I should have had my focus less on the storm blades after I got rid of the first few to make sure they weren't threatening, and I probably should have been focusing more on things like the fireflies. But it was a good game. Still learning with Orion. I was a little bit faster on that one, so that was good. I didn't DeathClock, so that's a moral victory. This is one of the fastest games we've had on the stream for a bit. But thanks for watching, guys. Look forward to seeing you next week, and we will have the matches for next week posted shortly. See you next time.